Because I can imagine this as the pitch. Hey, this next Apes movie, just apes. And I can imagine Fox or now Disney at first being like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then I can imagine an executive freaking out and going like, we need an attractive white girl in this movie. Yeah. Where's, we need a human element.
Whoever is slightly cheaper than Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. We can't afford Sydney. Yeah. Let's get somebody.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. Apes will learn. I will learn about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's the Breakroom movie review. Hit the graphic. Incredible. I'm Evan, one of the producers here on the Breakroom. Joining me today to discuss the latest film in the Apes franchise are Jordan Morris.
Hello, everybody. Breakroom together strong. Yes.
Jessica Clemons.
No!
And Hector Navarro.
Bad ape.
Oh. Have we run through the 3 memorable lines in this franchise? Are there any more?
There's a Caesar
Ape
is
not kill
home.
Oh yeah, Caesar.
Caesar's home.
Ape not kill ape.
And then maybe my favorite of the whole franchise. Human work. That's my favorrit. That's Koba.
Get some ping pong balls on this guy. Yeah. Get him to do some mocap. Look at Andy Serkis over here.
Nah. If we're doing a pretend to be an ape off, I'm gonna win.
Oh,
I'm really good at pretending to be an ape.
Breakdown for this movie.
You don't understand.
In.
I thought it was so funny to act like an ape as a child. I would run on all fours all the time.
Yeah.
And then my mom said, Jessica, maybe stop. Maybe stop.
Jessica, there's never going to be a performance capture franchise where that can be a beneficial
This will never get anybody an Academy Award.
We just saw the Mark Wahlberg one. She was like, Jessica, you'll never make it into Planet of the Apes. I said, one day, Mom. And I was doing this on the table.
All right, get the mocap suits out here. We've got them, right? We have mocap suits, right?
It's the best acting job in Hollywood. Sorry, it's the best acting job.
And it allows you to, you just get to swing and you get to, get to really inhabit a different person, a different species.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get into the rules of our movie review and all the rest of the things that come with it, here's a quick non-spoiler summary. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes takes place around 300 years after War for the Planet of the Apes. We follow Noah, a chimpanzee from the Eagle clan, as he goes on a journey to track down the apes led by Proximus Caesar. Along the way, he meets orangutan Raka, who carries on the legacy and teachings of the Caesar from the first movies, and a human of the apes named Nova, who seems a little different from the other humans that have suffered from the degenerative virus. And it's not just the lipstick she has.
Her makeup is on point.
I watched an interview with the makeup, the woman that did makeup for it, and I was like, I need you to talk about her makeup. Yeah. And she kept going around the fact. She's like, she was just human, so I just had to dirty her up. And then if you go back to the apes, I was like, no. I need to know what shade that was.
Wow.
All right, before we get into the video, we wanted to try out a new part of the movie review. As you know, we rate the movie from 1 to 5 in different parts and get a total score out of 100. We thought it might be fun to guess what score we might give the movie as a group. We're gonna write down the scores before we start. We'll see who gets the closest at the end.
Okay. And there's a chance that we could have a 0.5.
Yes, there's a chance, 1 to 5 and 0.5s. Yeah, we'll check back after to see. All right, let me see. I have a pretty good feeling that this is what we're gonna get.
This is fun, I like this segment.
Yeah. I'm not looking at the camera.
It's impossible to see, but it's all right. You guys will be able to see it. Okay.
All right, before we get into that part of the review, before we spoil the movie, what was everyone's non-spoiler reaction and thoughts about this film?
Good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie. I don't know if it's as good as the previous ones. We were talking everybody earlier about everyone's kind of personal rankings of at least the Caesar trilogy, right? The reboot trilogy. And I still think Dawn and War are pretty incredible. But I would slot this in right there, and I might put this over Rise. I don't know if it's a better movie than Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That story had a lot of really impressive moving parts, and I think this story is very straightforward and simple for Kingdom, but I still had a great time. The visual effects are better than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Just like a good time at the movies, There's some issues I had with it, but overall, good movie.
I thought the acting was very fun. I thought the acting was so fun. I love these movies because it feels like the actors get to do their own. They become their characters so much that I feel like a little pieces in there are improvised movements that they're like, let's just be as primitive as we can.
Yep.
I thought that was really fun. I think the visual effects were stunning. The landscapes were insane. It was gorgeous. I think it's pretty long, and I feel like the pacing was very weird in ways of like me being like, oh, I'm very attached to this scene, but this scene kind of came out of nowhere. Here we are. What are we doing? But I do think it got its footing eventually. To me, being like, this is very fun. I agree with Hector with where it stands with the other movies, but I think just like The New Quiet Place, I love movies that explore, if this happens over here, what was happening over here?
Yeah.
And I want you to blow out that world. You can tell this movie really thought about the future of the franchise. It was like, here's a million things to work with. And I can't wait for those. That's what I like.
Tons of fun. Technically amazing, some really fun acting. I forgot most of it on the way home. It's pretty fluffy. It's a fun time at the movies, but like the food equivalent is like bar nachos.
Yeah.
You know, like
good,
fun. Who doesn't want
Whereas
bar nachos?
the Andy Serkis movies may have been a little bit of a filet mignon sometimes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes.
So I
They're at least
agree.
an awesome blossom.
An awesome blossom.
If we're ranking
a bloomin'
yeah.
onion.
A bloomin'
Sure.
Yeah.
Tons of fun. Worth seeing for the visuals, but like, a little long. Script feels a little familiar. So
Yeah, personally, I agree with what everyone's saying. I really enjoyed the film, and this was a franchise that I wasn't necessarily interested in before this movie came out. And so when I knew Hector, this is good.
Every week.
Every week.
Hector
Evan's
just broke the pen.
I've never seen a Pixar movie. That's cool. Like, and there's a new one coming out, and we're like, what are we doing, man?
Well,
What are we doing?
to prepare for this movie, I watched.
You saw them.
I watched.
He does his
Yes.
homework.
Yes.
And I was surprised. I was like, oh, these movies are, I should have given them more due diligence. I really like them. And so when I saw this movie, I thought this latest one is a great continuation of all this. And it feels like it's nice to kind of break away from something that doesn't feel like it needs to have this overarching, like, connective tissue across movies and shows and stuff like that.
100%.
And I did enjoy this film, and we'll get into some more specific thoughts in a second.
Yeah.
Great. So, if you're watching and you don't want to be spoiled, click away now and please come back later. But now that we've got that out of the way, as we do in the Breakroom movie review, we rate the movie in parts, with each part getting a grade between 1 to 5. Half wins are okay. Our off-screen team will be doing the math to get us to the sum at the end. We'll be grading the script, the story and writing, the acting, the directing, the visuals, and of course, the most important category at the end, the sound and score. So let's start with the script and the story in general. Written by Josh Friedman, who's written on Avatar: Way of Water and also wrote Spielberg's take on War of the Worlds, and will be writing the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, interesting.
What do you
Didn't
guys think about
include
this?
a couple other people? Wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, there
was like a lot of hands on this script, and and I think that contributed to how the length and the pacing and the wildness of it. Only to the degree the only reason I'm adding that is because I think it had one of the writers from not Avatar: Way of Water. It was it Prey?
Oh, you might be right.
And I was like, oh, this feels like Prey. This also feels like Avatar: Way of Water. It also feels like this, and it feels like even the Maze Runner. I was like, every person that has a staple in this is using their pieces in the movie, and I felt like it was like killing the quote killing your babies. They didn't want to lose it, and because I was like, I see each of you guys in this movie. Each of these movies.
Can we get into spoilers now? Are we in the spoilers?
Yes.
territory?
we can spoil?
Yeah, so you're talking about, I feel like I'm picking up what you're putting down, Jessica, with like the ape story versus
Yes.
the human story.
Yeah.
Feels sometimes like two different movies.
Yes.
I'm like, is this a Noah adventure or is this like a
And then-
William H Macy and the
Yes.
future of humanity and a little disconnected.
And there's a lot of subplots that don't really
Yes.
go anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about him more in the acting. I think Peter Macon is the best actor in this. He's terrific. But he dumps exposition and then dies and is not really important to the rest of the movie. The eagle thing feels kind of tacked on. I like the eagle ex machina at the end.
Super cool.
That
too.
moment ruled. But
too.
as far as the I'm training my dad's eagle, it's
Yeah.
like, what is this?
I was thinking at the end.
William H Macy thing is so
Yeah.
tacked on.
Yeah,
I was also thinking at the end, as the eagle thing was happening, I was also like, this is badass. Would have liked it if this factored into the earlier parts of the movie a little more.
Yeah, so the eagles were just flying around the whole time waiting to attack.
It felt like that. Oh my gosh. It felt like at the beginning of the movie, because I did the breakdown too, and I was like, I'm explaining a lot of stuff in the beginning of the movie because it comes back at the end, but it's not in a degree that matters.
Sure.
Because I was like, I have to explain a lot about the eagles because they are at the very end. They do all these things. Here's Peter Macon. Here's Rocca, and all these parts that he's inferring that is religious based rest, but then he also dies in the middle, and it doesn't really matter towards the end.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, there's a lot of stuff that I've explained at the beginning, just because it comes up right at the end. Like, oh, climb higher, and it's like, yeah, because remember they're really good climbers because they have to get eggs from the top of the nest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I have to like? It just felt weird. It felt like. I don't know.
Having said that, though, with like, if there were a bunch of like disparate elements or disparate story ideas as this script was coming together, producers, writers, teams of writers, whatever, if there were people going, because I can imagine this as the pitch, hey, this next Apes movie, just Apes. And I can imagine Fox or now Disney at first being like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then I can imagine an executive freaking out and going like, we need an attractive white girl in this movie. Where's, we need a human element. And then things kind of go from there. So despite all of these...
Whoever is slightly cheaper than Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. We can't afford Sydney. Let's get somebody. But like, even despite all of that, the script still feels relatively fine, in my opinion. I would give it a 3 out of 5, which is like fine. Like the script is fine. There weren't things that didn't make sense to me. There weren't things that felt like they were dropping the ball, other than could these characters and certain elements like have factored in more. All I'm saying is that nothing was sort of taking me out of the movie while watching it, but more my movie brain was going, this could have been stronger, this could have been stronger, and now we're here, we're at the end, I got it, I get it. For a sequel, things could definitely be more streamlined and kind of tightened up, especially when you compare this film to the previous 2 Caesar movies that have a lot of different elements, but it feels very like just really well put together. Sure.
Well, I think that's my follow-up question to that, because I'm like, I can see it giving it also a 3, but then I'm also finding myself comparing the dialogue to the acting and the delivery. And I was like, those parts, they bumped up the writing. But if I just had to read the script, just read the script. Am I? I shouldn't compare it to the other 3. And I'm trying really hard not to. But those scripts were so it was good.
Yeah. The category script/story. What's the official category here? What are we looking at?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a script, parentheses, story, and writing.
Parentheses, story and writing. Okay, so I mean, can we factor in performance to that? I mean,
I don't. I can give it.
We got a separate thing for the acting, and I think it sounds like we're all gonna gush about the actors.
Yeah.
I also want to. Oh, sorry.
No, keep going. It's your turn. I've been talking this entire time. You got it.
I want to jump back to what you guys were saying about, like, is it Noah's story? Is it the human story? So a couple of us were lucky enough to go to the premiere of the movie, which was great. And we bumped into Angelica Trey there,
William H Macy as well.
William H Macy as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Jessica said, Evan, stand right here. And I was like, what?
I have them all on my phone. I took 12 photos of Evan just looking at me and me getting William H Macy directly in the background.
I don't think you got to do a creep shot. I bet William H Macy does.
I don't know. He was with a lot of people.
And
it's okay. I did.
Anyways, when we were before we went to the movie, we were talking with Angelica, and she was saying like, oh yeah, like this movie. I don't know how long this movie's gonna be, but it seems like it's gonna be like a real like hero's journey. And I just think hearing that phrase kind of reframed the movie before I went in, where I was like, you know what? If I hadn't seen any trailers for this movie, if I hadn't known that there was a Proximus Caesar who said apes will learn, I will learn, and on a big ship, I would have loved to see more of that journey, and that journey also be more meaningful for all the characters involved, right? Yeah. Give us a real reason that Rocca makes an impact on both of these characters. Yeah. More than because like we understand the beat that we like, okay, we get that this is supposed to happen, but I don't know if I really buy that Rocca is like really influencing these characters in a way that's they're gonna carry for the rest of their lives.
I understood why he influenced her, because he protected her a lot of the time. Sure. But then that's also why I was kind of irritated with, like, I guess if this is story or writing, but it was like it felt like they were trying to be like, remember in War of the Planet of the Apes how we had Caesar, Nova, and Maurice, and this is kind of similar, right? Sure. And then we get the deja vu moment of like, oh, when Rocca dies, it's the exact same imagery as when Cora, the dad, the master of birds, died. Yeah. And he had to look up to his dad, and then here comes Silva just going kya and killing him. And I was like, I get those moments are probably supposed to be echoed through other moments in the movies and in the franchise, but I was like, it still doesn't feel momentous enough. Rocca's death was not. I don't think it didn't feel like it impacted Noah. Yeah. If I get why it did her, because she lied the entire time and he was only there to help her. Yeah. And she's like, damn, he didn't even know that I was lying the entire time.
And then also Rocca is supposed to be like a key force in passing on Caesar's legacy to these two characters, right? That are now also like interpreting Caesar's legacy in very different ways, right? It's probably one of the most interesting like things that this movie does thematically is make Caesar a religious figure, and Caesar as you've noted in the breakdown too, like a religion, right? So it's interesting that like he I would have loved to see them like, as they're journeying through LA or wherever they are they like, oh, this other thing about Caesar or something, to like see how these characters take these teachings more than just from what Rocca is giving to them, I guess.
Or from what Proximus Caesar is.
Exactly, right? And how they see it become distorted or whatever. Yeah, because now they're going to take it and interpret it their own way.
I'm going to give it a 3 still. Where are you guys at? Are you 2 with the story? 3, 2? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think all 3. I'll join you in the 3 club with the story. I think it is the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah.
I think that our human character is kind of interesting and layered. Is she good? Is she evil? Is she hero? Is she villain? That's kind of interesting. Boy, our main characters are so generic.
Yes.
Like, he is just hero guy.
Yes.
His friend is confident woman.
Yes.
Like, his other friend is slightly funnier hero guy. Like, they're pretty generic. And so, you do want there to be a little more meat on that. And again, all the actors are doing a terrific job. But just kind of a by the numbers. When you said hero's journey,
that's it.
It's one of those things that like executives say. They're like, "Oh, you should do a hero's journey." And so it felt kind of like that.
Yeah, and then that's why I was like, oh man, if it could be this more mythical thing, more like the Green Knight, as you like kind of learn these lessons through like these weird exchanges, And I was like, I've seen movies.
I know what type of movies you've seen.
He's an A24 man.
Yeah, we got that. I feel.
But I'm saying that's an interesting like reference to come in and be like, I wanted this Planet of the Apes movie to be more like Green Knight. I think would have been cool.
I think the
I wanted to be more like Beau is Afraid.
I would have ate that up. I would have ate that up.
Do apes dream? Do they, do they dream of electric sheep? Do they like? Could we've gotten more metaphysical and weird?
Well, I think they tried to do it in a way. Again, and I said this at the beginning. I can't stress this enough. They were more thinking about the future of the franchise and getting more to work with.
Yes.
So they drop little eggs of things that can grow into something else later, and we see so much imagery of space. So much space. So I was like, right. So I think the next thing is like recognizing how big either the world is, or them being like satellites, or them being like something else that involves space.
Charlton
There's so
Heston
much
coming into it.
And even I watched the interview with the director who was like, if I had my choice of how all these movies would go, we do it all, and then the last shot is seeing a spaceship crash, and then we never touch it again. And then the 68 one just exists. We never touch it again. And I think he really echoed that in this movie. He was like, I want you to remember that there's the 68 movie. I'm not touching it, but I want you guys all remembering.
This movie was like the Force Awakens of the Planet of the Apes franchise, because they're just like playing it safe.
They are playing it safe.
And maybe in the next one we'll get more interesting. But we gotta, we don't have 80 Circus anymore, so we gotta really play it safe.
Because they could have. I like this idea more than doing the Cornelius storyline. But that's it was them keeping safe to not do the Cornelius storyline. Because that would have been hard, and then you have to make a crazy story that makes me be like, okay, why do I care about this monkey now that his dad's dead?
I think about
3.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm gonna do 2. I think I'm gonna do it 2.
Call me Evan 3 because I joined the 3 club.
Okay.
When I say a 2, I'm only being a harsher critic a little bit, because I'll give everything else high numbers, but also I think I gave Madam Web a 0.5.
Oh.
And I was dead ass serious about that.
Fair. I think I gave it a 0 or 1. I forget.
I don't think I was allowed to give zeros. Are we allowed to give zeros?
I don't know.
Because then maybe I did give it a 0. Okay, but I gave it a 5 for toxic.
All right.
So
for the music.
Great needle drop.
It was great. I love toxic.
It was great.
What this movie needed was more millennial pop.
Yeah, why don't they have radio yet?
Well, actually, we've been mentioning the acting a lot. Let's talk about it. The acting, starting
5.
I don't think you're wrong, though.
5 is
I think it's a
5,
high. I think I would, right before we start talking about it, I want to give it a 4. It's so fun. It's so fun. They went through 6 weeks of like a camp to like with a movement and vocal coach, and they even separated them so that Peter Macon's character was separated from the rest of them, because he's an orangutan. They're chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are in a group. Different. The orangutan is literally like solitary. So it's like they really wanted that to work, and then the 2 actors, Owen Teague and Kevin Durand, would go off on set and go practice themselves and figure out like how would all of us react to each other. I think even Kevin Durand's character being a bonobo ape and the rest being chimpanzees, they played their character so well. I just think it was really fun for them.
I'm gonna change mine to a 4.
Okay.
I went from 5 to 4. I'm gonna change it to 4 because love Kevin in the film.
Love Kevin. What else is he in?
Kevin has been in a million billion things.
I only know him from Abigail.
He famously played Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh.
Before and after the big fat suit that they gave him. That's him. He's
That's
Blob.
him?
He was a bad guy called Kimi in the Lost television series, and he crushed it. He came in and had such a presence. Nobody watched the one season of the TV show Swamp Thing either, but he's Woodrue in that, and he was really good in that. He's just been in 8 million things.
I didn't know,
a lot
and
of
I
TV,
feel
a lot of
bad because
movies.
he's great.
He's phenomenal. Anytime I see him pop up on anything, I'm like, Kevin Durand, all right, he's great. Been a fan of his since Lost.
I think this is like part of what I like so much about the acting. It's not just like the acting, but it's the casting, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in this is
Yes.
just that guy or that gal or that person from that thing.
That thing.
Yeah.
Peter Macon especially.
Yes.
Like just
Orville.
somebody you kind of recognize and kind of like, giving a great performance. Like there is a cynical way to cast this movie where you just get Pratt and Sydney Sweeney in a booth for a day. Have them crap out the lines, and then you have motion capture performers whose voices get replaced. But it's like they trained the people, they did the voices, they did the acting, and it's great. Like there are so many phoned in VO performances these days. It's just nice to see beautiful, rich, textured, often very funny ones from these people. So yeah, I thought that the acting was great and the casting is awesome.
The human characters I thought also did a pretty good job for what the role required.
sure. Yeah.
I think I'm going from 5 to 4 just because it is difficult to make this comparison, but I'm going to do it. The main character, Noah, played by, what's the actor's name? The young actor, Owen Teague. He's great. He's no Andy Serkis. No. I would have loved if he, as a performer, could have also had a little bit more... basically, it's a combination of his performance, his character, and the story that like did not move me to tears. Versus certain moments with Andy Serkis, I was like devastated.
It's hard though because Andy Serkis is Andy Serkis, where they literally brought that man in to do just some eyes for Godzilla because he just can just his
Andy
eyes.
Serkis did eyes for Godzilla.
They were like there's scenes where Godzilla, and it's literally maybe 2 scenes where you look directly in Godzilla's eyes, but they had Andy Serkis come in to do it because he's really
fall in love with Godzilla.
The 2014 Godzilla, or is it
was
King
it
of
the
the
2014?
Monsters? Where he was looking at Kyle Chandler and King
I
of the
think
Monsters.
Was it King of the Monsters? It's either King of the Monsters or the first one. I know it's either those two.
But the point is that this whole character Noah, even with the actor that they cast, I think he did do a great job. But I think that the character and the actor, they sort of embody one another. Like they sort of have that personality. That,
Noah, and then there's a flood. Oh, 5 for the script. No.
But
Very
he was
ominous.
just like,
Floods are hard to come by, okay?
he's just this young, sweet guy that I don't know if the acting had that depth that I would have loved.
And I
That's
expect like if they did another like 20-year or 10-year time jump,
Yeah.
I bet he'd get because he has to be older too.
Yep.
And more wise.
I
He's
would
the
be into
leader of
that.
his clan now.
I would
He'd
be
probably
into
show something different.
Okay.
And I think there's a way to, like, even in the limited time we saw with the Eagle Clan in the beginning of the movie, because, you know, we see what, like 10, 15 minutes
Something like
before
that.
they all, like, kidnap.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a way in that 10, 15 minutes to make that character and his relationship with his family and the community feel more, like, lived in, I think.
For sure.
But otherwise, I do agree that, like, I think it is just, great performances across the board.
So 4-4.
I'm going 5 for the actor.
5.
I'm happy someone give it a 5.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
It's very fun. Good for them.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, before we get into the rest of it, I want to shout out some of the sponsors for this video, like Marvel Move. You've heard us talking about them. They're a fitness app with immersive audio that makes you feel like you're running, walking, or jogging through your very own MCU film.
What?
Marvel Move is a fully featured fitness app with GPS run mapping, step tracking, and stats. But the really unique factor is the motivation you'll get from progressing through thrilling original Marvel stories. Brandon and Zach have been getting their asses kicked by Thor and Loki as they train for this 5K that we're all doing. You
guys gonna do a 5K?
I did
I don't
it.
want to do that, but I want to do this app. That's awesome.
sure.
You want to do the 5K?
No, but I did the app.
I actually did the app, and it is really hard sometimes
Good.
because you're like and it plays over your music. You can keep reading.
Right,
I think
right,
it tells you that, but
They've got real ass comic book writers writing those stories. Too.
I did my ass.
Yeah. Gary Duggan. I'm
Wow.
blanking on the other name. That's
I know Megan Fitzmartin, big DC writer, wrote some stuff for this. So,
Working on it.
It's fun.
Well,
It's
my
fun.
my gym music is already only superhero movie scores. Like, that's
Same,
already
same.
the only thing I listen to, dude. Let me tell you, when Shoulder Touch From Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse comes up as a track by Daniel Pemberton. I run on the treadmill harder than I've ever run in my life.
So funny.
So if you're entirely new to running and need a little structure and guidance, your Marvel Move subscription includes Thor and Loki's 5K training, an 8-week-long program that will train you to run your first 5K with 12 hours of audio drama. Plus, you'll get new workouts weekly with stories from A-list writers like Teenie Howard, that was the other name, and Jerry Duggan. Plus, more series and new characters arriving this summer 2024. So, download the ZRX app on iPhone and Android to try Marvel Move for 1 week for free. When you're ready to dive in, head to zrx.app/newrockstars and use coupon code NEWROCKSTARS at checkout for 50% off your first month. Also, we want to thank Mando. You know, Zach's always telling me to smell his armpit, and I do every time.
What is it?
Mando.
I'm gonna call HR.
And the reason he does that is because he's using Mando's full body deodorant, their Lume full body deodorant. Lume's been popular for a while now, which is why Mando's rolling out Lume for Men. It's the same clinically proven doctor-developed formula, but in cologne quality scents for men like Bourbon Leather, Pro Sport, and Mount Fuji. A bunch of us started using Mando just because we had free product laying around, but now we just can't stop. Mando is made with mandelic acid and alpha hydroxy acid that blocks the sweat-eating bacteria on your skin from causing odors, so you don't even smell in the first place, and you can put it anywhere. So, as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a Mando starter pack with code Breakroom at shopmando.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit shopmando.com and use code Breakroom. And of course, check out nerdride.shop. We got merch, we got Breakroom merch, we got X-Men inspired merch, we got tons of stuff on there. And we also have the It's a Trap hat, which, you know, sometimes we get some free stuff in the office. Sometimes
It's so fun.
I really want that hat.
Same.
I really want that hat. It's great. So check out nerdride.shop and you can pick out, it's a great way to support the channel and pick out some stuff today. All right, let's talk about the directing. Hector, we were sitting next to each other when we watched the movie. You said, you know, this guy directed the Maze Runner movies? I said, what?
Yeah, right before we started watching.
Right before we started watching. So
Yeah.
Wes Ball, director of the Maze Runner movies, and he's also going to be directing the upcoming Legend of Zelda movie, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you guys think?
I'm scared.
It was fine. I
Yeah.
thought it was fine. I thought it was. I'm not that familiar with the Maze Runner films or Wes Ball's work. But watching also this movie wasn't necessarily something that made me go like, "Oh, Zelda's in good hands. This is going to be incredible."
Yeah.
I was just like, "It's fine.
Sure.
It did the job. I think that he did a good job. I think that if I'm comparing the directors in this recent franchise, I think I would prefer sort of Matt Reeves' approach in how he would kind of craft his stories and direct his performances, especially coming out of those latter two movies. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna give this one also like a 3. I think that these movies are hard to make. There's so many different components to it, but I also feel like, you know, the pressure is off. The pressure was really on Rupert Wyatt, who did the first one, who like filmed the movie with the motion capture actors and didn't know if this thing was going to work.
Right.
And then it
just
did.
to be, hey,
and
it's possible. Yeah.
Matt Reeves talked about how nervous he was filming the movie and freaking out, being like, is this going to work? I don't know. Hang on, wait a minute. The first movie already came out. It will work, because you don't see the final sort of characters until like a few months before the movie comes out, as the shots start rolling in from Weta. So, you know, pressure's off of a director coming into something like this kind of known formula. But so in that regard, like, pressure's on that, like, you gotta really elevate and kind of and do something really cool and special to it. Didn't really feel that way, but again, nothing that ever took me out of the movie in terms of the directing. So 3. Yeah. Good, nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think that, like, something about those Matt Reeves films are so captivating from just the camera work. Some really good intro shots, like intro sequences that like get you lock in for those movies right away. You're like, what is going on?
First shot of
what
Dawn
are the stakes here?
Is Caesar as we come out from the eyes, and then he goes, go. And then like they start a hunt, and you're like, what is
And
happening?
who are they hunting? And what? And it's like they're just taking care of themselves, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, something about those movies, especially Dawn, it's just so good. And I would have loved to see a little bit more of that kind of like vision for this film, I think. And also, again, just the, you know, how much of this is the script, how much of this is directing, just like where do you spend time, who do you spend time with, you know, when it comes to the different communities and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I will say, though, it's very cool that he's going to be releasing, or the studio will be releasing a non-CGI version, allegedly, of the movie, so you'll see all the actors and
like that.
just and if that happens, if that actually delivers, that'll be sick. So that's awesome for him. Like, he announced that, and he's kind of like pushing for it. And I also think maybe, you know, might be getting like a bad rep or whatever. People are already coming for him for the Zelda movie that no one knows anything about.
Sure.
And just like, cut him some slack. Come on.
That's
I don't think
be
he's
a
gonna be
thankless job.
I was like, I don't think it's his fault what happens to the Zelda movie
Exactly.
at all. At all. Also, he doesn't have that much control over the Zelda movie to start with, anyways.
Such a tough movie.
That movie.
Agreed.
God, we're all scared for not him.
Yeah.
I think I stand with that 3 too, because the pressure does feel completely off, especially when you have like Weta. You already have like these people that have been working in this franchise for a long time, just coming back, and that's kind of how I feel with like directing of the actors too, because I'm like, they have coaches that are on set with them. So when you ask for like, oh, I want this, is it also coming from the coach that's like, hey, he's not acting enough gorilla-ish. Get him on all fours, make him run on it. Like, so that's why I'm like, okay, so I do want that height, and I want that Matt Reeves. I want like that big thing. And I think he kind of, respectfully, maybe dropped a little bit of the ball. I watched an interview where he spoke about how he really got a lot of his inspiration from the 68 film, to the degree that they were like, we're using this very old cameras to make it look like the 68 film. And we're doing a lot of those shots. And I'm like, but Matt Reeves's was good because him and the cinematographer came too, and we're like, let's do these crazy fucking shots.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted that. I'm like, you guys got these insane landscapes, you got all this stuff. You're shooting on Australia. You said that most of it was shot on location. Like, you guys brought a blue screen here.
Yeah.
Come on, give me some different angles. I don't want that 68 angle. I don't want that 68 angle, Charleston Heston's angles.
I want an angle for my generation. I don't want my grandpa's angles.
What you talking, Grandpa? Get that grandpa angle out of here.
How am I supposed to relate to this NRA ass angle? Get it out of here.
Thank you.
Charlton, get out of here.
I want responsible gun control laws, and I want new angles. For me, a guy who says bussin'.
Me, a guy that says
I'm always saying bussin'.
These angles were
And
not
mid.
bussin'.
Ooh,
These are
this
mid.
is bussin'.
These angles were mid.
Angles were mid.
AF. Sorry,
AF.
Wes.
That was Freya Allen on set. She said, damn, this mid as fuck. Damn, this is mid as fuck.
Did any of what we say made sense? Let us know in the comments.
Please.
I think 3 is totally fair. It is a fun 4th sequel in a franchise reboot. It could have been special, but ended up kind of just being fun and forgettable.
Yep.
Maybe give the guy a Kirby movie. Maybe let him do Kirby first, and then if that goes well, we do Zelda.
We got to do a whole break room about the Nintendo movies, because I have strong thoughts.
You don't hate the 90 one, the 94 one?
What 94 one?
Is it 94 or was
There's
it
the 94
Mario Brothers?
Yeah, you don't hate that one?
I do hate it. And I feel
There's
bad.
defenders.
Strong feelings
There's
then.
the-
I thought
there
it was
There are
defenders.
defenders. I get it, but every time
I'm
I hear
becoming
that,
a defender.
every time I hear that, I'm
It's
just
not
like, rewatch the movie. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
we should just do all the
it's-
video game adaptations, because we need to do Street Fighter. The Street
Gotta
Fighter
be-
one.
We always
Street
have to do the
Fighter?
Van Damme Street Fighter.
Oof.
Raul Julia's final performance.
Yeah, I know. And he did great in it. He did great in it.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
Great line delivery.
Really,
Anyway, let's just talk about the Street Fighter movie
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the next
okay.
45 minutes.
I really like the way they kind of the way they executed the ending of the movie. I've been thinking about the ending a lot. Full spoilers here, but basically, Freya Allen's character Nova or May, she gets what she needs from this human base, so she goes off and reunites with a group of humans. We don't know what her relationship is with them. And Noah takes the clan and the surviving members of the Flood back to the Eagle Clan, and they start rebuilding. There's a final interaction where Freya comes to see Noah again. She says it's to say goodbye. She's like, I just want to say goodbye. And we see this shot where she's holding a gun behind her back.
Yep.
The gun that she stole from the human base.
Yeah.
She decides not to shoot him.
Yeah.
In an interview that came out just a couple hours ago, Freya Allen was like, actually when we shot that scene, it was totally different. We shot it where Noah turns around and May takes out the gun. And she's standing there, and she's going to shoot him, and she's crying, and she decides not to.
Whoa,
And
they
then
should have
she
done
puts-
that.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
better.
What do you
I'm
guys
also
think?
like, I don't mind that, but then I have too many questions.
I like it either way. Talk about it. Ask the questions.
Well, I guess my only, maybe it's just because my interpretation was like that they still did have some sort of like some sentimental value between them that they shared because of Raka. That she was like, I don't want to pull out this gun. Like, I just killed probably half of his village by drowning them. It's just if he retaliates when I'm trying to say sorry, I'm gonna pull out the gun. But it seems like with that line, she was gonna kill him regardless, just out of hatred for apes.
With that,
and
like,
then in the village in front of all the people, like she saw the one that he loved. She's right there. She looked
Right,
at her.
right.
So I'm like, what? You were just gonna whip out a gun and shoot him in front of the entire village? What would that have done? That would just got you killed.
Yeah.
And then you have the key.
But-
So that's why I'm like, why would you
Or
have done
like order of operations, right? Does she drop off the key and then maybe she's like, hey, my
comes
final
back.
mission is to kill him.
Yeah.
For what reason still, though, I guess?
Well, because
Just 'cause she hates you?
because I think that with the compromise of maybe a studio executive going, we need humans in this story,
Right.
and bringing in this character. And I remember before we walked into the theater at the screening, they had the costumes at the Chinese theater, and they had her character Nova. And I remember being like, Nova, that's the name of the white girl character in the last movie.
Yeah.
Man, are they going to explain that? They do explain it when you watch the film, but like,
It's
I
fun.
think
That's a fun moment
it is.
too. It's
And-
like, we call them all Nova.
And I think that it's again, it's just all teeing up to that '68 original. But I think that to have her character in this film have that presence, for them to decide she's going to be the very morally gray and potentially most. Oh no!
Keep going,
Grab it,
keep going.
grab it.
Ignore
We
it.
got a Stanley Cup down. We have a Stanley Cup
Don't
down.
tell them what I'm drinking out of. I'm embarrassed about it.
Potentially the most evil character.
Yeah.
Because like Proximus Caesar, you know what he stands for when you meet this character,
Yeah.
and you know what his intentions and his goals are. But codename Nova, she's doing something so sneaky and so kind of fucked up, and she kills William H Macy, which
they
I
were
thought
shook.
I thought was really interesting to have the story choice to have her represent that side of, even if humans were to survive, what lengths will they have to go to claw back into a dominance in this world, because going back to the original Andy Serkis films, the second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, was something that Matt Reeves was trying to tell the story of, like, if Dawn of the Planet of the Apes could be the story where it could still at some point maybe become the Planet of the Apes and the humans. But we know that that's not where this franchise goes. It becomes the Planet of the Apes, period. There's no space for humans. And so the Dawn story was like, maybe here's the last time it could have gone either way, but here's how shit gets fucked up. And it's such a compelling story. And I think with this fourth one, they're trying to say, look, if humans were to come out of this thing, and some humans had immunity from the original virus that was killing people, it stands to reason maybe some humans have immunity from the virus that was like attacking people's frontal lobes, like it got Woody Harrelson in War for the Planet of the Apes. That starts making all of humanity the sort of type of human that you remember from the original, that was mute, that wasn't intelligent, and kind of like cattle. So that's interesting if the story's going to go to another almost final confrontation, whatever that means, between humans and apes. We're, like, the original 1968 movie hinted at the fact that nuclear weapons were used. And it's like, will that come into play in this franchise, either on the East Coast or in other parts of the world?
I did think that's what they were looking for at first too, like the not coast, but just to
that's what I was like. Every time she said there's a book in that room, I was like, is it nukes?
Yeah.
I was like, are they looking for nukes? I also, two things. That scene of her choking out William Macy, I loved.
Yeah.
Because it was every pressure of, like, she probably learned, she was born into this world, the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
She only hears the stories of how she never, like, to hear that you once owned this world and that you could easily get it back if you guys just defeat them. Yeah, you're going to be chaotic evil. And so her killing William H. Macy, she's like, I learned this to defeat an ape, not to kill my own kind. And I tried to get him on my side twice, and he would not. He submitted to being like, this is now their world. Their world. We're not doing this.
I'm ape guy.
Yeah.
And in the future of the movies, I need them to address how in this movie they're all segregated. Well, not segregated, but we have the Eagle clan that is only chimpanzees.
Interesting.
And how Caesar was like, anyone's allowed. We have a winter albino. Winter's an albino gorilla. We have gorillas. We have an orangutan. We have this. The two orangutans were underground. It was just him and what's his name. And there's this one line that I need everybody to listen to if they go back and watch this movie for some reason. That Proximus Caesar says, you and this ape, and then he goes, ooh, and the orangutan.
Interesting.
And I went, do they hate orangutans now because they probably follow the word of Caesar? Because if they were the wise ones that held down, like, here's the knowledge, we're the ones teaching, you guys know how to read, you probably don't, no one probably likes them because he's always speaking about the only real Caesar.
Yeah, and then in nature also, orangutans are like the more solitary. They're not the social creatures the way the other ones are.
But that was also a note that Peter Mackin said in an interview. He was like, since I was alone I don't walk like Maurice does. Maurice learned to walk like with the chimpanzees,
Oh,
so he walks more like a chimpanzee, while Rocco walks more like an orangutan.
I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was this category?
Sorry,
Directing?
I'm sorry.
We're talking about the score. Yeah,
The story itself is fun. I just the writing.
Yeah, all to say, I think there's some slight flourishes and things that I do like, but I wanted more personally. I think directing, final number for me would be a 3.5.
I'm giving it 3.
I'm giving it a 3. Jordan, what were you?
Yeah, let's go 3. 3 sounds fair.
Okay.
3.5. All right.
I can already feel that my number was wrong.
I fucked up.
I went too high into
Wait, we gotta
the
do
like
score. What's going on? What happened?
What? We do. Yeah. I'm just saying.
okay.
I'm just saying.
We
got
commented on where we're at with our.
Got it. Yeah.
something that I thought was interesting as we move on to our next category here, the visuals. Wes Ball re-teamed with Giola Pados, who shot 2 of the Maze Runner films, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and production
Everyone's
designer
favorite movie.
Daniel T. Torrance, who also worked on the Maze Runner films. So it's nice to see when a director kind of re-teams with their other creative folks. Visuals. I thought the visuals are great.
5.
I mean, right?
Yeah,
like
5.
It looks amazing.
5.
Yeah.
People are crazy right now on the internet saying, "How does this look worse than the other ones?" And I'm like, "You're insane.
It does
You're
not.
a crazy
It
person."
does not.
I was like, "Am I?"
You saw
do
the
I
first
need to
movie
get my
recently?
eyes
You know
checked?
why that is? Because Elon Musk will reward engagement. That's all that is.
okay,
People
okay.
going on Twitter like, isn't it crazy how Deadpool and Wolverine looks worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine? And they sit there and wait for the clicks. They wait for the engagement. It's not real.
And it keeps showing up, and they know I don't interact with
Actually,
it. period.
Madam Web was great.
That's when I know that.
Give me a
I'm like,
Cybertruck. Give me a Cybertruck.
Please, I won't squeeze my fingers, I promise. I'll be careful with my fingers, please.
I'm not gonna put them under there.
Something I was thinking about while I was watching this movie.
Yeah.
This looks amazing. And see it in a theater. See this movie in a theater. It's so cool. Like, something it seems like they got in this movie that I don't think I've seen from other CGI characters is they got loaded silence, which is something that I've always felt like CGI characters sucked at, right? If we're like, if we need to have a moment where I'm thinking something and you're thinking of something, like the CGI characters doing that just look like, they look like they're, and you can't see thinking, and it seems like these characters, like, you saw them listening, you saw them thinking. It was really cool. I think this movie is just a neat step forward for CGI, and I'm an old guy who complains that there's not enough practical stuff in movies these days. But I think in this case, I thought the CGI was amazing, and it's its own thing. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, as someone that's really dumb to it, period. I will gawk. I'll be ooh. I'm like ooh. It was really hard for me to separate what was real and what wasn't. Like the fact that they were like, we shot on location in Australia and we just like brought a blue screen here, and they're like, you're not gonna notice what's when it
Very
cuts.
impressive.
And I could not. I was like, and I was trying really hard. I was like, I can't tell. And I was like, It's also just fun doing that, like, post what collapse world where nature takes over. That's just so fun to be like, you can do anything. You can make it look like anything you want. The vegetation is all over the world. Have fun with it. And it looked great. Scenery is amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's just, like, nice when, there's a big set piece at the end, right, with the base flooding and all that.
It was fun.
And it doesn't feel, like, separate from the movie, right? It doesn't feel like another team like stepped in and be like, all right, we got this now, right? It all feels very cohesive, all the visuals, and like you said, you love to see how the form the world takes. Like when you see how much time has passed. It's so cool. So cool.
I'm gonna give it a 5, but my only note is this movie should have also been released in 3D. And I don't think it is, and it's such a bummer because it would have looked gorgeous.
Do they? Aren't they only caring about IMAX period right now with that one?
Yeah, I don't
They're
know.
like, you got to see this in IMAX. They don't even care
You
about.
guys have
They don't
some
even
sort
care
of beef
about
3D
I don't know,
Hector's the one that got me turned on to 3D. He was very
cool.
adamant about it. And I
like
believe
3Ds.
leave a comment in the YouTube video or in the chat.
Is it because you only care about Spy Kids 3D?
3D peaked with Spike in 3D.
He
I mean,
loves Spy
yes,
Kids 3D.
but still, this would have helped move the 3D needle.
I don't know.
Pushed it into the next.
A monkey swinging at you?
Yeah.
Oh, the pipe scene when they're underwater fighting the
That
gorilla.
would've been
I don't
great.
want to see that in 3D. That scared the shit out of me.
When they were up in the jungle getting those eggs,
Yeah,
it
that-
reminded me of Avatar. I was like, this would have been.
It's
this
fun to
would've-
feel high up. in
Yes,
movies. I
yes.
love the feeling of being high up.
Like Marty Scorsese says, thrill ride. Would have been a thrill ride.
That's true.
I'm gonna give it a 5 as well.
Yeah.
But I am also a dummy to visual effects. I think they're. I like.
No.
I don't know what to tell. What's bad. I'm always astounded. When I saw Transformers, I went, "What?"
No, hang on. You gave Madam
They're
Web
real.
a 0.5, so you're not a dummy to visual effects.
No,
You've
that
seen
was for
bad visual
writing.
effects.
I don't know
Oh.
what I gave them for visual effects. I also
Not a
gave them
5.
5 for Britney Spears. So
Okay. All right.
Maybe a 3. I don't
Okay.
know. I feel like I gave 3. Madam
you're
Web
giving
3.
this a 3?
No, I'm not giving this a 3.
Oh.
Leave a comment if you want us to watch a 3D movie with Hector this summer.
You get to choose the 3D movie
It's
too.
been discussed.
Been
It's
discussed. Might have a big 3D watch along.
I want to
saying.
come. I love
All
3D.
I'm saying.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I
It'll be
think
fun.
for me this will be a.
You're trying to calculate everyone's points, so
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying
closer to
game
your
it up.
number.
I know. I'm trying to do it.
Don't,
I'm
man.
gonna give it a 4.
Bullshit.
What is
4.5.
what is a 5? What is a 5 visual effects for you?
Ooh, I don't know.
Spy Kids 3D.
Spike is
You bitch.
Glenn Powell.
Adventures of
Baby
Shark
Glenn
Boy
Powell.
and Lava
Baby
Girl.
Glenn
Yeah, there we go. I love the Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
What about you, Jordan?
It's 5 for me too. I thought,
Five.
I
4,
thought
5, 5, 5. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looking so cool is like the reason to go see it.
Yep, for sure.
Finals category here: the sound and score. Yeah, Hector. Before we watched the movie, you were saying that this was the same guy who did the Daredevil movies, John Paisano.
I think I said it after. I didn't realize it until I saw the credits.
Oh, okay.
John Paisano, who
Yeah.
did Daredevil seasons, all 3 seasons, and I think also the Defenders show, and also does the score for the Invincible animated show. I didn't even realize I was wearing that T-shirt today, but does Invincible. And it did the Maze Runner films, but like good score, not phenomenal. I think I still prefer the Michael Giacchino scores for Dawn and War, which like are really great. But this had some wonderful callbacks to those scores as well as the 1968. So I'll give this one a 4 because this also includes sound design.
Yeah.
That's everything. That's the sound mixing. That's the voices of the characters as they were performance captured. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm giving it a 4 as well because my favorite part about Star Trek, the original series, and about the original Planet of the Apes is how you can choreograph like the music to the fights, and it's like a tuba noise when people go bam, 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 when you're fighting and doing these rushes. And he did it during the scene. The humans are being herded, and I was upset. I was eating that sound up.
Yeah.
The music it reminded me of Star Trek, the original series, like when they're fighting, and it's just so big and ridiculous and
stressful.
And it's stressful, and it's that like weird sci-fi like composing for like the 70s that I just loved for it, and I think he did a really good job turning it for 2024.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked the callbacks to the old scores. I even think in the credits I saw that they call back to the score for the War for the Planet of the Apes.
Very cool.
And I love any reference to the Wacko sequels, the Wacko 70s sequels, which are
they're too crazy for me.
Wait, when you say War for the Planet of the Apes, that's the third Andy Serkis movie. Which one do you? You?
Battle for the
Battle
Planet of the
for
Apes. Battle
from
for
like
the
the
Planet of
70s.
the Apes.
No.
Yes.
I mean, my prescription for these, and I realized that this is what I want, Jordan, and I know this is not what everyone wants. I love that Wacko sequel where there's mutants at the center of the
Forbidden
earth,
Zone.
worshiping the atomic bomb.
It's crazy.
I love them. They're crazy.
And then
These
they blow up the
are
Earth.
talking ape movies.
Yep.
Get crazy, get campy. We've
Yep.
done,
Yep.
we've done it's about war and and I guess
Genetic engineering.
yes, and I guess
okay.
the mutants worshiping the bomb is about war and religion, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, just go crazy, get campy. I would love it if they got a little more wacko with the sequels that they're
Yeah.
definitely gonna make.
I don't know if they're
But
going
that's
to.
just me.
They're going to be so dramatic. They're going to keep getting
I
more
know,
dramatic.
yeah.
And it's funny because if you saw the 68 film, you're like, yeah, this is a 68 film. Go watch the 70s ones because those are fucking insane.
They're crazy.
You
wild.
thought you knew what you were watching. You were like, oh yeah, 68 was like, whoa, that was funny. Kind of sometimes it's silly. 70 right afterwards, they just went crazy.
They're cocaine. They are 70. Everyone.
They are.
These movies were conceived of in the back room of Studio 54.
Yeah.
Someone doing blow with Iggy
It was-
Pop and just creating an Apes movie.
Someone did a line and went.
They worship the bomb. They worship the bomb.
There's a wall.
The bomb is their god. Yeah.
But they went, but how do we top the twist ending of the original film where it was Earth all along, and then someone went, we blow up the entire Earth, and they went,
and then we do 2 more movies.
And they're gonna jump into the past. It's gonna be crazy when
Time
they're
travel,
the
time
The
travel.
monkeys will time travel, and and then they'll drive tanks.
How's that possible?
The gorillas will drive tanks.
Jordan, how could they have possibly invented time travel? They get in Charlton Heston's ship that crashed, the spaceship that crashed.
They do
That's
that. I know.
Wild.
Hey, all those old ones I did see are all on Hulu. If you have not watched the wacko, cocaine-y 70s
Yeah.
Apes
They're
movies,
only like
they're
an
a blast.
hour and not even 30. Like,
Yeah.
they're so quick to
Yeah.
watch, and it's so fun to watch. It's
they're
it's
great.
so fun.
Yeah.
Ricardo Montalban is in 2 of them. They're great.
Oh, yeah.
They're great. So score is 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 for me. I get
4.
Yeah, I did 4.
All right. So
Good job on the score.
Yeah, as we kind of calculate the final number here. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Do you think that the next Apes movies will go to space? There's a Hollywood Reporter article that says there's 9 Apes films planned. We have 4.
What?
We have 4, so that would mean in their overarching vision.
They have 5 more?
They've got 5 more.
I thought you said 9 from now.
I know. I thought it was also 9.
Even 5 from now is insane. That's crazy.
No, I don't think I think this director specifically just loves the 68 movie and just wanted to remind us that, because at the end they're like, oh, we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where Astronaut Taylor from the first movie was from.
Oh, that's a cool Easter egg. I
And
didn't
so,
catch that.
yeah, I was, as soon as they said Fort Wayne, Indiana, I said, that's a specific weird place to be in.
Yeah.
And that's where Astronaut Taylor from the 68 movie's from. And I just think he loved it so much that he put in all that space allegory, because I think you can also just say, like, oh, they just see how big the world is now.
Sure.
They just witnessed how big it is.
I don't want them to go to space, and I certainly don't want the next movie, or even the movie after that, to have astronauts landing from time travel, outer space, or anything.
It doesn't have any impact now that we know that there are smart science humans. So like an astronaut landing, it's like, oh yeah, you're just
another one.
Get in the bunker.
Right.
So I think they took away that twist with this movie.
Yes.
But hopefully there's something else cool they could do.
Absolutely.
I need them to answer why they're segregated. I need to know. I'm sorry, it's just so weird.
Because
Because I was like,
68 doesn't really have, but they do have like,
Well, they put the
orangutans
orangutans,
are
yeah.
this, gorillas are that, chimps are that. They,
and maybe that's where they're going towards, is like
Yeah.
working classes into them, and there's like a classism in the classism in the next movie. Maybe that'll be like the few orangutans that are left are now going to be like the not lawmakers but just own knowledge.
I would be cool with the next film or 2 more films following Noah as the protagonist. That's fine.
Sure.
He wasn't the most compelling character for me, but I would.
Like, like a Luke Skywalker, like a Rey, you get a little more texture as you go, and you can make something out of a character that's a little bland.
My pitch is bring in some new writers, some fresh writers that have a really interesting take to kind of push it forward. I would even say you don't even need to necessarily bring in like the same group of humans that we saw. As interesting as it would be to see May again, like
I think he's gonna die.
Yeah, and do what the first movies did, 10-year time jump. Let's see what happens to Noah, the Eagle Clan, progress the story.
Would you rather them stay with the Noah storyline, or maybe someone come in and they choose a different section?
I think that enough groundwork has been laid for Noah that I think that carry that forward, maybe at least one more movie and see where it goes.
Okay. Here's my pitch, Rise of Skywalker style. Somehow Caesar has returned.
Well,
is it Cornelius? 300 years old. A 300-year-old.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it would be interesting to see the direct descendant of Caesar at this point, right? Who is that?
You can't really go back, though. That's the problem, right?
That's true. I mean, you can't go back, but it's like, okay, is there this one kind of like the pure Caesar clan that has like kept, kept
what I
together?
think, and I don't know how they could prove this, but maybe if there's a way that they will reveal that Noah is a descendant of Caesar.
That's okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like that would be really interesting, and then you can kind of tie in, like, would there be sort of a fate involved, and how would these apes react to all of that? But I think that would be fine.
I like that a lot, because when I was doing the breakdown and trying to figure out their locations, I was like, how many of these people, because they were in San Francisco, and then it looks like we're like
LA.
LA. So I'm like, how many of them are also just zoo animals that got it just from being contagious, or did they move? Because it's 300 years. There's zebras now. So I'm literally these people are migrating, or these apes are migrating. They're going different areas. So which one left that clan?
The apes eventually have to get to the East Coast, because that's where the Statue of Liberty in the original film is.
A piece of me was like, do you think they're gonna drag the Statue of Liberty somehow to the West Coast? Okay. I was weird. I was wondering. I was like, are they just gonna keep it on the West Coast?
One ape has like an Atlas style punishment. He's just, or an Sisyphus. He's just gotta keep pushing the Statue of Liberty from coast to coast.
I didn't know, because also where they're at now looks like the 68 place where they find the statue.
The deserts and the.
Speaking of where they were, I was convinced that the Peter Bacon character was holed up at the Burbank airport.
I thought it was Bob Hope, and then I saw a piece that was LAX.
Oh, okay.
I thought
like
the
little murals on the wall. Like that's where's the Guy Fieri sandwich shop?
But they had an escalator. They had an escalator. That's the thing. Burbank Airport, just that 1 story, 2 rooms.
They're gonna roast me in the comments. comments.
The way that they travel.
R.I.P. my mention.
No. It's fine.
No.
For you to assume that
Attack
the most
him.
intelligent person is from the Burbank airport, that's a fair assumption to make. But no, they
Well,
were
you're
holed up
traveling in
LAX.
LA. You gotta do the Burbank.
The way that they
yeah.
travel in the movie, though, is they go to LAX and then they go technically back and then they kind of come back.
Yeah.
Because they're also, we passed Dodger Stadium. And I was like, oh, so they're
great.
passing Dodger Stadium. It's in the trailer, too, which is weird. I don't know why they put
Great.
that reveal in the trailer. Then they go to LAX, but then they're going to the observatory. And then I'm like,
Oh yeah, Griffith.
wait,
yeah.
I'm like, how
Yep,
far
yep.
are you guys
So
going?
that's why it would make sense if it was Burbank, right? If they're like sneaking
Yeah,
their way down.
that's
But-
what I thought.
But maybe they only travel on highways.
I think they're also like, we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah,
like,
that's-
no one knows
Yeah, guys,
California.
there's no
like
405 in this universe anymore. Okay?
Where's that fucking
There's no
405?
405 was the first
Show
to
me the
fall.
off ramp. Show it to me.
You guys are like, it wouldn't make sense. Why would someone go from Burbank to LAX and back? It wouldn't make any sense.
let me see Freya Allen's map right now.
Yeah. There's overgrowth.
Local
There's-
jokes get you local work.
All right, so I can reveal
They're at the
final-
Grove. Parking's gonna be a nightmare.
The
the Grove of
Americana at
Trees.
Brand.
Yeah.
The Americana at Brand Twitter account's gonna have a field day
Hold
with
on,
this movie.
Grove
Yeah.
of Trees. Let's give that its flowers.
I don't give him flowers for his bad puns, but I can't wait to see Trader Joe's in the next movie.
Thank you.
That's great.
All right, so do we want to reveal the scores we thought it was going to be first, or should
Yes.
I do the final? All right. So I thought we were going to be a little bit more generous.
Same. I thought we were gonna be more harder.
I thought 83. I thought we were going to come up to an
That's high,
83.
that's high.
Jordan, what's yours?
My guess was 75.
Ooh, good year. Good year.
I originally.
1975. Good year.
You were alive.
No, I know.
You weren't. How do you know it was a good year? No, I'm
1975.
joking.
Good movies came out in 1975.
I originally wrote 70,
Ooh.
and then I erased it and put 82.
I put 84.
Okay,
84.
okay.
84. Price is Right rules.
Wait, Price is Right rules. Let's
Who's
hope it's
closest?
above his.
Yeah.
This is pretty incredible.
Yes.
Oh, Price is Right rules? Ooh.
Yeah.
We can't do Price is Right rules.
What does that mean again? I just
I
said it
think
out
it's
loud.
the
I forgot.
closest to it.
Without going
Close
over.
without going over.
Yeah.
Well, the final score was 75.5.
Oh,
What?
Wow, that's it.
In what?
What does he tell him what he
universe?
just won?
Wow.
You want the rest of the post-it note.
Wait, no. We need those.
Oh, yes.
Wow, that's
You got it.
incredible.
Yeah, why
Holy
not?
cow. I thought I had a good reading on it, but then I was like, dang, yeah.
Do I get a dinette set or?
You get our refrigerator that's not ours anymore.
Wow, incredible. Yeah, I'm excited to see where the rest of this franchise goes. If it continues getting more sequels, wouldn't mind if they were all disconnected and we're just getting an anthology of the Planet of the Kingdom of the Apes, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then, you know what would be cool if it was an anthology? Like, the next movie was totally separate, but then the third movie, they loop back in an older Noah. Like, those kinds of, like,
those
fan
kinds
of- They can
service.
do that.
Oh, cool, Noah, the Falconer has
Yeah.
returned.
We gotta keep adding to the title, so the next one has to be Rise of the
Please,
Kingdom
no,
of the Planet.
please, I
of the
can't-
Return of the Rise of the Kingdom.
like that.
It's the
Oh,
of
yeah,
and the for that I always keep getting mixed up in these movies. Is it like
yeah.
for? It was
War
war
for.
for
Kingdom
Kingdom
War
of.
of the planet for the apes.
I'm gonna throw myself off a balcony. I want them to also explore in the next movie how many, because I love the landscape so much. How they just took a military base over and was like, hey, this battleship that's rusted is now our new home.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're like little sea snails or whatever that hermit
crabs.
crabs
Yeah.
where they just
Yeah.
find. So I'm like, what
Yeah.
other territories, areas are you guys like? What
Yeah.
Washington D.C. Are you guys just living in the White House?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
Like-
great.
Oh,
Probably.
hell yeah. Just like the Tim Burton movie that had him in Washington.
I skipped that one.
Can
I
we
skipped
make a
that one 'cause
callback to the
everyone
Tim
told me
Burton
not.
movie? Can
Can
we have
we?
Abe Lincoln at some point?
Abraham
Yeah.
Lincoln. Let's bring him in.
He's wearing the top hat,
Yeah.
the little monkey suit. No, they'll get mad. They'll get
Greatest
mad.
twist of all time.
7 years ago.
Someone comes up and just
Cannot tell
punches
a
him in the
lie.
back of the head. They don't shoot him, they punch him. They don't have guns anymore.
Wait, what's the ape pun name for John Wilkes Booth? We need it. What is it?
John Baboon.
John Wilkes Ooks.
Ooks. That's not bad. Okay.
John Wilkes Baboon.
Baboon, yeah, John Wilkes
That's-
Baboon.
I think it's just
strong,
John
that's
Wilkes.
strong.
John. There's a W thing in there.
Bonobo.
John Wilkes Banana?
This is funny.
John
this is
Wilkes
good,
Bonobo.
this is funny.
This is a good use
John
of time.
Wilkes Bonobo.
It's good we're
John
doing
Wilkes
this.
Bonobo. This is good. Good use of our time.
Okay, hold on. Here it is.
Yeah.
Kong Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, which one is gonna be named Kong? Oh, I guess they were making fun of them, calling them donkey.
Yeah, I love
in
that.
the last movie.
Come on, donkey.
Oh,
so sad, so good.
Yeah. Hey, that's it for us today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel here on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch where we do videos like these live. Jordan, where can the people find you?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention, like I always like to mention at this portion of the show, that I've got a graphic novel coming out later this year. It is called Youth Group. It is a YA horror comedy about teenage exorcists. Drawn by the great Bowen McGurty, whose work you might recognize from Marvel Comics. Yeah, it's funny, it's spooky, there's a little bit of romance and a lot of friendship. bit.ly/youthgroupbook. bit.ly/youthgroupbook. You can see some of the beautiful art there, and you can give it a pre-order, which we love. Why? Not sure, but they want me to tell you to pre-order it. Yeah. It's a big help to books. So if you think it sounds cool, if you think it looks cool, give us a pre-order anywhere you get a book.
Nice. Jessica?
I just burped.
Do you want me to cut it? Do you want me to leave it in?
John Wilkes burp.
John Wilkes burp.
You can just follow me at Lulu Clemons. Yeah, and go watch my breakdown of this movie. On
I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You can watch it if you want.
It's great. Just for the geography stuff alone.
I know. Yeah. You did a great job, Jessica. You can follow me at Hector is Funny on the internet. So check that out. Thanks so much.
Woo. And follow the Breakroom at BreakroomNR on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Listen, we're doing some great work on Threads. I definitely remember to post all the time. It's definitely not just me and Tom Michelson. All right. We'll see y'all later. Bye.
Apes together. Strong.
Yes, strong.